Combs is back in a New York courtroom, marking a third attempt to be released on bail in his trafficking case. He's been in jail.
Sean Diddy Combs, the once celebrated music mogul, has found himself back in a New York courtroom, marking his third attempt to be released on bail in connection with his ongoing trafficking case. The scandal has been escalating ever since his arrest in September, where he was taken into custody under grave allegations involving minors. While Combs continues to deny the accusations, the sheer volume and gravity of the claims against him have left the public stunned. At the heart of the legal battle is a disturbing and growing list of accusers, many of whom were underage at the time of the alleged offenses. Prosecutors argue that Combs not only poses a significant flight risk due to his immense wealth, but also represents a danger to witnesses, citing past actions where he allegedly attempted to bribe security staff and threatened others to cover up his tracks. With these serious concerns in mind, the court has yet to grant him bail, as the prosecution continues to stress the risk he poses to both the legal process and potential victims. The allegations against Combs are deeply troubling, with multiple lawsuits now claiming that he hosted parties at his infamous mansion involving minors and committing acts that many are calling unimaginable. Among the many accusers, 2 young boys have stepped forward with allegations so severe that they have left the public in disbelief. These claims involve horrific abuse, with one victim recalling uncomfortable and inappropriate encounters with Combs during his notorious gatherings. But the accusations don't stop there. More than 120 individuals are now coming forward, all claiming to have been victims of Combs' misconduct. The scope of these cases is staggering, with the youngest victim at the time of the alleged incidents being just 9 years old. Other victims were as young as 14 and 15 years old, and it appears that these actions spanned across decades, ranging from the early 1990s all the way up until 2024. The sheer number of plaintiffs and the disturbing timeline only add to the weight of the allegations, suggesting that these alleged crimes were not isolated incidents, but part of a disturbing pattern that persisted over 25 years. Many of the alleged victims were minors at the time, which further complicates Combs' defense. His legal team has tried to argue that any acts of misconduct were consensual, particularly with adults involved in the parties. However, as the allegations focus on minors, this defense becomes untenable. Minors, by law, cannot consent to such activities, and the defense's position is increasingly difficult to maintain. This scandal extends beyond the confines of the courtroom, with unsettling accounts emerging from people who were once close to Combs. Among them is Justin Leosi, who was just 6 years old when he attended one of Combs' infamous 4th of July parties in the Hamptons. Justin, now 31, has come forward with memories that suggest something far darker was happening at these events. In a now infamous photograph, Combs is seen with his arm draped around young Justin in a manner that he now describes as uncomfortable. Justin recalls the party's atmosphere being far from family-friendly, with marijuana and topless women present. This party, intended to be a celebration for high-profile guests, quickly devolved into a scene of debauchery that would leave a lasting mark on the young boy. The discomfort felt by Justin and his family was palpable. Justin's mother, Maya, recalls how the party took a darker turn as the once family-friendly event gave way to excessive partying, drugs, and scantily clad women. The Leosi family, alarmed by what they saw, tried to remove themselves from the scene to protect young Justin, moving to another part of the house to shield him from the growing chaos. In later years, Combs allegedly instituted a curfew for children attending his parties, signaling that the event was no longer suitable for young guests. As the years have passed, more individuals have come forward, each sharing their own troubling stories of attending these parties and witnessing behavior that can only be described as predatory. One particularly alarming statement came from a woman who, along with many others, witnessed what she describes as a freak-off, a term used by Combs associates to describe sexually charged, often illicit gatherings. However, these events went far beyond the realm of adult consensual activities. Some witnesses have described seeing minors involved in the activities, which is a key factor in why these incidents are now under intense legal scrutiny. The sheer number of individuals now filing civil claims against Combs has grown to more than 120. These lawsuits have become a focal point for those who believe that justice must be served for the countless young people who were allegedly harmed by the mogul's actions. With so many plaintiffs coming forward, each with their own harrowing stories, the case is beginning to resemble a sprawling legal saga that could shake the foundations of Hollywood and the entertainment industry at large. What has been even more shocking for some is the involvement of a Saudi prince who reportedly attended these infamous parties, allegedly with the aim of shielding Combs from the fallout. In interviews, some witnesses have speculated that the prince's presence may have served to protect Combs from legal repercussions, allowing the mogul to continue his actions without fear of accountability. One of the more perplexing aspects of this case is the repeated defense of Combs' actions by his legal team. For years, his lawyers have dismissed every accusation as being part of a smear campaign or fabrications made up by people seeking money. They have consistently painted the alleged victims as opportunistic individuals looking for compensation, with no regard for the seriousness of the allegations. But as more victims step forward, this defense is beginning to crumble, and the cracks are starting to show. The infamous baby oil incident is one example of the bizarre and disingenuous defense tactics employed by Combs' legal team. During one interview, his lawyer tried to downplay the significance of the baby oil, stating that it was simply a part of what they referred to as freak-offs, which were allegedly consensual orgies. However, many have found this defense laughable. How can one explain the need for 1,000 bottles of baby oil? The number seemed absurd, and when asked about it, the lawyer tried to brush it off, claiming that the number was inflated. But the reality is, the figure came directly from official statements and court filings. The defense's attempt to downplay the situation as nothing more than an adult gathering is only adding fuel to the fire, with many questioning how they could possibly explain away such a large quantity of baby oil. To add to the absurdity, Combs' lawyer tried to rationalize the use of 1,000 bottles of baby oil by suggesting that Combs simply purchased it in bulk, given his proximity to wholesale stores like Costco. However, even this defense is riddled with problems. When one considers the sheer scale of the purchase, it becomes clear that the quantity is highly irregular, and no one could reasonably believe that such an amount was necessary for threesomes, as the lawyer claimed. The fact that these arguments have been made with a straight face only underscores the desperation of Combs' legal team, who seem to be grasping at straws in order to defend their client. As the case progresses, it's becoming increasingly difficult for Combs to maintain his innocence, especially given the overwhelming number of individuals who have come forward with credible, chilling accounts. Whether or not these victims are financially motivated remains to be seen, but the consistency of the allegations paints a damning picture. For many, the tragic truth is that Combs, a man who once enjoyed unparalleled success and fame in the music industry, is now at the center of one of the most disturbing legal scandals in Hollywood history. As the trial unfolds and more details come to light, the public continues to grapple with the fact that such abuse could have occurred for so long without anyone stepping in to stop it. The case against Combs is far from over, and as it continues to unfold, it's clear that the allegations against him are serious and deeply troubling. With more victims stepping forward, the magnitude of the charges against the mogul only grows, and his defense becomes increasingly difficult to sustain. As this case heads into the next phase, it remains to be seen whether Combs will ever be able to reclaim the reputation he once held, or if the truth of his actions will ultimately come to light, forever changing the legacy of one of the most influential figures in modern entertainment.